ESPN 94.1 FM and AM 930 present The Drive. Winner of the 2024 West Virginia Broadcasters Association Excellence in Broadcasting Award for Best Talk Show.
It is Tuesday, June 18th. Your drive begins now on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930. I'm your host, Paul Swann. We are here to get your text in this hour, 304-396-TALK. That's 304-396-8255. We're going to give you an opportunity to win tickets to go see the Tri-State Coldcats starting off a two-game home series against the Johnson City Doughboys. We'll give you tickets for tomorrow's game. Coming up is also Hot Take Tuesday. So your takes are welcome. What's your hot take of the week? We will go over them with you. And again, the text line this hour, 304-396-8255, 304-396-TALK. That's our text line to be a part of today's edition of The Drive here on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930. Here's my hot take. The NBA record tie. It used to be a record tie between the Celtics and the Lakers for most championships. Well, here's a hot take. The Boston Celtics aren't done. They win their 18th title, record 18th title, defeated the Dallas Mavericks 106-88, Game 5. You know what my hot take was last time we had a hot take? Dallas in 6. That was my hot take. We need more practice on the hot takes. I mean, it was a take, all right. That was a boring series, absolutely. I know the Celtics are beloved by many a Boston fan, but that was just a boring series. I was not entertained by it at all. It was not compelling, not good television. Congratulations to the Celtics. At the same time, I'm glad it's over. That's a hot take right there for you. I'm glad the NBA Finals are over because it was over weeks ago. It's done. We got the Stanley Cup that possibly is going to be over here soon, too. Now, if Edmonton can win a game against Florida, we're going to make this thing a little bit more awkward. If not, you'll have the Florida Panthers becoming a first-time Stanley Cup champion. Florida leading that series 3-1. 8 o'clock tonight on ABC, ESPN. Edmonton did make it interesting. Game 4 won that one 8-1. How about that? So we've got baseball coming up today, and we've got a special guest kind of tie in with that. Coming up will be Jim Holland, former GM of the Huntington Cubs. You remember the Cubs way back when minor league baseball was tried the first time? Now we've got collegiate summer wooden bat league baseball. I mean, we have college baseball, developmental league here. And the first time around the Appalachian League, the Huntington Cubs, an affiliate of the Chicago Cubs, and Jim Holland ended up being the GM. Now, he went on to be the GM. It was the start of a long career for him, believe it or not. He probably didn't expect to be in baseball this long, but he spent 30 years in baseball, including a long time tenure as the general manager in Princeton. He was there from 1992 to 2015, so he's been around for a long time out of Dunbar, West Virginia. He's written a book, My Fortunate Detour. He's going to be signing on Thursday during the Tri-State Coldcats game at Jack Cook Field. That game we'll have for you, as well as the rest of the home games all this week. 6:50 is going to be our airtime tonight through Saturday, 3:50 on Sunday. All those games right here on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930. So we'll talk to Jim in a few minutes about the book and his career in baseball. He spent a long time in baseball, and now he's written a book about it, so we'll talk to him in the next few minutes. Of course, we've got the Coldcats coming up tonight, as I mentioned. They are starting off that two-game home series against Johnson City, and then they've got a four-game series against the Burlington Sock Puppets. Maybe the best mascot name in the Appalachian League. I mean, that might be a hot take right there. It is Hot Take Tuesday because Paul Swann said so. It is a hot take that the Sock Puppets might have the best name in the Appalachian League. Busy night in the Appy League. We're getting back into action. Of course, Monday teams have off, so back on the mound tonight. And the Kingsport Axemen taking on the Pulaski River Turtles. Bluefield Ridge Runners taking on the Burlington Sock Puppets. The Bristol State Liners at the Greenville Flyboys. And the Danville Otterbots at the Elizabethton River Riders. Of course, the Doughboys taking on the Coalcats tonight. If you're going to rank the mascots in the Appalachian League, where would you rank Coalcats? Texter writes in and says, Paul, Sock Puppets is absolutely the best name in the Appalachian League. So we'll say Sock Puppets 1. Are we going to show our bias and say Coalcats are 2? How would you rank these? I'm going to say Coalcats might be up there. Is it better than State Liners? Yeah, it's better than State Liners. How about Ridge Runners? Yeah, what is a Ridge Runner? What does a Ridge Runner look like? What does a Ridge Runner do? Well, obviously, it runs on ridges. It's a Ridge Runner. At least give me something cool if I'm going to be a fan of your team. Give me something cool I can identify with. Like, hey, I'm a fan of the Sock Puppets. That's funny. That's a good name. I'm a fan of the River Turtles. Okay, that's cute. That's fine. You know, I don't know exactly what a state liner is supposed to do. I mean, do you line states? Is that your job? You get like a paintbrush, a magic marker? What do you do? Ridge Runners. You run ridges. Okay. Axeman, at least I know what an axeman does. He takes an axe and he axes things. And, you know, Doughboys, you know, okay, so Pillsbury. So your mascot is a cousin of the Pillsbury Doughboy. The opponent tonight for the Tri-State Coalcats. Already making friends in Johnson City. I am making lots of friends. So we'll get into what's happening with the Appalachian League, but when we continue, we're going to be speaking with Jim Holland. He is signing on Thursday his book, My Fortunate Detour. That'll be on Thursday during the game at Jack Cook Field against those Burlington Sock Puppets. Should be fun. Jim joins us on the other side of the break. This is The Drive on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930.
Community Chatter. The Cabell Huntington Health Department's conducting a series of evening vaccine clinics this summer. The dates are June 3rd, July 1st, August 5th, and September 9th, taking place from 4 p.m. to 6 p.m. at the department at 703 7th Avenue. No appointment is necessary.
This is Kenner Communications Community Chatter brought to you by the providers at Marshall OBGYN, online at marshallhealth.com/OBGYN.
Is reviewing life insurance on your to-do list? Now's the perfect time to add it. A friend recently told me that securing life insurance sooner rather than later can help you lock in lower rates for years to come. So I bumped this up on my list and got it done. I called SelectQuote and couldn't believe how easy and affordable life insurance is. I'm 40 and got a $500,000 policy for $16 a month. My husband's also 40 and his $500,000 policy was only $18 a month. Plus, with SelectQuote's same-day coverage, there was no medical exam required, and we were covered by the time we hung up. Knowing I have this checked off my list feels amazing, but the peace of mind knowing my family is protected feels even better.
Call SelectQuote at 1-800-694-1010. That's 1-800-694-1010. Or go to SelectQuote.com to get your free quote today. 1-800-694-1010. Details on example rate at SelectQuote.com.
Okay, forest animals, today is a new day. Kids are coming to the forest, and it's up to us to make their visit a good one. Sparrow.
Yes?
Have you practiced the most popular bird songs for the year?
Of course.
Catchy. I like it. Okay, River.
Dude.
How's the temperature?
It's a refreshing 52 degrees, man. Perfect for a little riverside shoeless relaxation.
Ah, good. Owl, you here? Course. Who's asking? I am. Look, you know the drill. Sleep during the day, scare the kids at night.
Perfect. I love my job.
Oak Tree?
What's up?
Still in the same place I left you last year. That's what I like. Consistency.
Well, it's not like I'm going anywhere for the next couple hundred years.
I know. I love it. Turtle. Turtle.
He's not here yet, man.
He's late every morning. You'd think you would have learned by now to leave the night before our meetings. Okay. Squirrel. Has anybody seen Mr. Squirrel?
The Forest has been preparing just for you. Visit a forest near you today. To learn more about cool things to do in the forest, visit discovertheforest.org. Brought to you by the U.S. Forest Service and the Ad Council.
Take a look under your bed. Find stuff under there? What about jobs? No? Now try your basement. There's a pair of overalls that overall you're not so into anymore. A perfectly good laptop that hasn't sat in your lap in months. And even more stuff, but still no jobs? Well, you really have both. See, stuff is defined as household articles considered as a group. Sometimes this stuff is no longer needed. Wait, no longer needed? That can't be right. Because remember those jobs you were looking for? Those are really needed, and they're the stuff inside your stuff. Even inside that winter coat that moved with you to Phoenix. Our job is to unlock those jobs, and it starts when you donate your stuff to your local Goodwill. Here's how we do it. When you donate to Goodwill, we sell your stuff to provide job training for people right here in your community. So just by teaming up with Goodwill, you help create jobs. And isn't that worth parting with the leftover guitar from your 80s cover band? Goodwill. Donate stuff, create jobs. Find your nearest donation center at goodwill.org. A message from Goodwill and the Ad Council.
This is The Drive with Paul Swann on ESPN 94.1 FM and AM 930.
We continue on with our Tuesday edition of The Drive on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930. Coming up tonight with the 6:50 airtime. Cats opening up a 2-game series against the Johnson City Doughboys. And then coming up on Thursday, the start of a 4-game series with the best nickname in the Appalachian League, the Burlington Sock Puppets. And joining me now in the program, he will be there for that opening game against the Sock Puppets, is longtime Appalachian League icon. The best way to describe him, he's been in the league longer than a lot of people have been around. And he's now written a book about his experiences in baseball in the Appalachian League. And he'll be signing that book during the game on Thursday. Jim Holland, you probably know him from his time with the Huntington Cubs. The new book is My Fortunate Detour. And Jim joins us now on the program. Jim, congratulations on the book, and thanks for joining us.
Well, thank you, Paul. I appreciate that. The book has been out for 19 months, and it's just continuing to move. So, you know, if it keeps moving, we'll keep turning the knobs and trying to make more people aware of it.
Yeah, and now you have a new audience because the Appalachian League is back in Huntington. And with the Cats starting up a few weeks ago, baseball is back for the first time in a long time. And you were there originally when we had baseball in Huntington. A little bit different of a situation, different times. Of course, St. Cloud Commons, I love St. Cloud Commons, but it's definitely no Jack Cook Field.
No, St. Cloud's was a different time. I mean, it was I believe the grandstand was built in 1908. And, and of course, if memory serves me correct, they had to get it ready really quickly. And I can remember they had the monkey grinder that did the peanuts, and they had an organist, Mike Campbell, who was superb, and just the bear rising up behind the left field fence with the eyeballs blinking on and off, and the steam coming out the ear on a homer. There was a lot of good creative minds with that original staff there in '90.
And you, of course, have been in baseball for a long time, so you've seen a lot of creativity. It's minor league baseball. It's summer baseball. You have to be creative because everybody's looking for a good time, and so every ballpark has got to have something unique, and Huntington was no different. But I'm sure you've seen them all from over the years, and you outline that in your new book, all the adventures you've had, everything you've gone through, and My Fortunate Detour. What made you decide that this was the time to put it to paper, put it together, and put it out there for fans to maybe see what baseball was like 30 years ago, 20 years ago, even 10 years ago?
Well, the first thing, Paul, I was actually a mass communications journalism grad from the University of Charleston in 1980, and as I know you well could appreciate, anybody that's got that kind of background, definitely aspires to write a book at some point. And the reason the book is titled what it is, My Fortunate Detour, on the cover of the book, right at the top, you'll see a detour sign with a baseball hitting it. And the reason for that, Paul, was when I got out of college in '80, rather than following the journalism pursuit, or a creative specter, I went into sales and marketing for industrial sales for 10 years in the '80s. And right at the end of the '80s, I was traveling 5 states at that time. Just met somebody on a happenstance right at the end of the '80s, and and of course that's my fortunate detour. That's where it all changed for me. And that was Bud Bickle, who was the first general manager of the Huntington Cubs. And he had become acquainted with me and just baseball travels. And he said, I know you don't like your job. Why don't you give baseball a toss? And so really at Huntington, Paul, I was kind of under the radar. I was just there hanging out with him in '90, just doing an errand whenever I was asked. And then in '91, they started having me selling advertising. And I did well with that. Next thing you knew, it was November of '91. And I was in Princeton, West Virginia, starting my first of 20 seasons, running a club in Princeton for the Appy League, 5 of which was with Cincinnati, and then the other 19 was with Tampa Bay. And the book is basically leading up to all that, how that intersects like that. It kind of goes into the chronological order of my time in Princeton, which was 24 seasons. Now I finished up with 4 seasons in summer collegiate, full-time in the Prospect League with Beckley, the West Virginia Miners. Just a lot of the talks of the players and the games, but it's not a stats manual. Yes, those names are there, and even the list. I had 84 big leaguers at Princeton. But also, you can't have a book about minor league baseball without the wacky stuff, people and players. My book even has Sonny Bono in it because we encountered him. And so all that stuff. And then, of course, in the end, Paul, I retired after the 19th season. I turned 62 and put in my 30th season, both in 2019, and went on to other things. But the book, also because of my detour, a lot of other detours were created for others. My stepson, who's Warren Height, is a vice president with the Tampa Bay Rays, and he's in the middle of his 15th big league season now. So, I don't come to Princeton, West Virginia, don't meet his mom. We don't get married. I never meet Warren. Warren might have went down to, he was one to be a pharmacist. And now he's creative and brand for the day. So I guess one detour can spark a whole bunch of other ones.
My guest is Jim Holland. The book is My Fortunate Detour. He will be at the game on Thursday. It's the Coldcats and the Sock Puppets. And you spent a few years in Huntington, so I kind of want to pick your brain a little bit. I was a younger Paul Swann then, and I was there. I was young. I was there though.
Yeah.
It was baseball for the first time really in Huntington for someone like myself who was I think 20 when I was maybe 19 or 20 in 1990, and so
don't rub it in.
Hey, look, I'm getting close to 53. I'm feeling it, so I'm with you there.
Gotcha.
All
right.
I'm with you there. The Huntington Cubs, it maybe wasn't your typical baseball franchise in the Appalachian League. So I'm sure you have some interesting stories comparing what you saw in Huntington to what you've seen since. Is there anything maybe that stood out to you during your time in Huntington that is worth a revisit down memory lane?
Well, initially Huntington was they were like an anchor franchise just as soon as it began because they had a large full-time year-round staff, and they was doing other creative things in the winter, like the Harry Berry All-Stars basketball team. And they really had some off-the-wall promotions that really sparked things in my mind with things I went on with Princeton. I actually I think still I'm the only person in Appalachian League history to win the Promotional Award of Excellence 5 different seasons. And I think a lot of that sparked from Huntington. There was all kinds of nutty stuff. That's why Princeton came to Huntington looking for somebody to fill the gig, because Princeton at the time was like a lot of clubs in the league who were usually just one-man shows that opened up about 3 months out of the year. And when Major League Baseball started to put in all these facility standards and so forth, I think everybody in the Appalachian League started drifting the way of Huntington, getting more full-time employees because, quite frankly, there was more things to attend to. So Huntington was a good anchor piece for the rest of the league to see, what the future was and how it was going to operate.
What do you see now from the league? It's changed. It's more college-based now. It's similar to what you experienced the last few years in your career. What do you see now from the Appalachian League? What's changed for the better, and what do you miss?
Well, obviously I'm a pro guy, I always was. But, things have changed, and this is the format you have to deal with. And it will, it'll take a little while for fans to get used to it. I was actually just in a game of Bluefield a couple of nights ago. They've really got a lot of creative things going now, too. So it's I miss the pro format. The hardest thing for a fan, and this is from my 4 years in the prospect league right in my career, is you're really going to see a lot more roster movement on the college level, because you think about it, Paul, on the pro level, you're affiliated with one club. In Huntington's case, everybody was an employee of the Chicago Cubs. There was just that one little apex, inverted pyramid, or whatever you want to call it, the trail. Here you've got like maybe 20, 30 players from maybe 25 different colleges, and are all there with both different personal agendas and, personal playing restrictions that the college is putting on them. And I can tell you that I saw it at the minors when I was there in the Beckley days. You might be the manager of the team, the head coach. You're feeling pretty good about yourself, and you come in the next day and you see somebody's locker empty, and you ask the clubby what happened. They said, "Oh, he made this morning and cleaned his locker out. He's going to the beach." So, there's not the what could I call it? Handcuffs, if you want to say, on the personnel. And so those are just things you got to see. And as the season goes on, I would say the door will revolve there some on your roster.
I think that's something that's been a little difficult for fans to get adjusted to, because this is a developmental league. All baseball at this level is developmental, but this more so. These are young men who are starting out trying to get that experience, and you might not see them again with minor league baseball. You might have a little familiarity from year to year, just a little, but this is a difficult adjustment, I think, for fans, because it's so new, it's so different, but at the same time, it's great that we have this format, because these are probably some rare opportunities for these young men that might not have this opportunity to get better or experience wooden bat baseball. I know that's still a rarity for some of these kids.
Well, the big thing is, back in the day, and you were the young 19 and 20-year-old man coming to the games at the Cloud, everybody was already a professional. And what you were going through your mind, Paul, was say, well, who can get to the big leagues from here? And now, you're going out here to Jack Cook Field, you're saying, who can get a professional contract and even start in rookie ball to work his way up? And obviously that will not be everybody you see. Whereas, before, everybody was already a signed professional and was already to that first rung on the ladder.
My guest is Jim Holland. Brand new book, for us at least here in Huntington, since Huntington's brand new once again in the Appy League, is My Fortunate Detour. You said it's been out for 19 months now, and you go to these different cities throughout the Appalachian League, and you tell the stories. What's the one thing that maybe you hear over and over again? Because baseball fans are the same no matter where they are. It's just the different teams, different mascots.
Well, I mean, I don't know. I think that fans are if you're talking about the format change, I think they're coming around on it. One thing I really applaud the Appalachian League for doing this year is at least having a semifinal round, getting 4 teams involved instead of 2 in the postseason. So, because, the Appalachian League for many years, you just had your 2 division winners play in the finals. That was at the professional level. And I came in 90. And it was 20 years later, when 2010, they finally went to, 4 gets in. And obviously, in a short summer format, if you have 2 runaway pennant races, it can get boring mighty early if if only 2 are going to get in.
Jim Holland's with us. My Fortunate Detour. The book is going to be available at Jack Cook Field Thursday against the best nickname in the Appy League. I know I'm going to get some heat over this from Colecat fans, but the Burlington Sock Puppets. And you're going to be there with the book. You'll be signing autographs, talking about what's in the book, stories with baseball fans. You have an interesting background. You're, of course, a West Virginia guy through and through. You even came back to Dunbar. Family is important to you, and that's something you highlight in the book as well. What do you hope is the takeaway when someone gets your book, reads it? What do you hope the takeaway is from all of your stories and your philosophy? Because you've done a lot. You've mentored a lot of people, and you've also seen a lot of things from a unique perspective. What do you hope the takeaway is if someone is able to talk with you, get the book, and really go through your story?
Well, first off, I would tell you, Paul, it's not a small book. It's 367 pages, so it's a big one. And that's even after I've shaved it down some. But there's several things. Obviously, just the things in life, you just keep plugging, and things seem to happen in the right way. They certainly did for me and the people around me, because you're right, I did mentor a lot of people who've done some dandy things in life, and I just want it to be an enjoyable read. I want, and especially a lot of times you'll read a player bio, and there you got the clubhouse, the on-deck circle, I'm at bat. Of course, we get into some of that in the book also, because after all, I had 84 Major League players, some of whom were very prominent. But now we're getting into, here's what's happening on our side when certain things don't line up the way we want them to, and that happens all the time with the front office, and what we're doing in expanding the game outside the foul lines to make it an enjoyable experience. In my world, Paul, if you got a family of 5 and you got a successful promotion is when you got a family of 5, maybe 3 of them are core baseball people. The other 2 are the grumbling 2 that you got to tag along. If I got a promotion that interests those 2 on the end, by Joe, I'm going to hook 5. And so those are a lot of things that come around. I did and I traveled a lot, and that's in the book, all the cities I went to, especially a lot of winter meetings, memories, and people I've met of all walks of life. And, and of course, with the Huntington Cubs, I would argue the man that went the furthest with the Huntington Cubs was not a player. And that would be Matt Vasgersian.
Matt, of course, now on MLB Network, he was actually able to, I'm sure it was a treat for him, announce the name and the logo for this team a few months ago, introduce the manager as well, and that's might be a factoid that some people might not know if they're not our age, that Matt Vasgersian at one time calling games for the Huntington Cubs, and look at the tremendous career he's had in sports and in baseball.
Well, the thing with Matt, he was in 1991, that was his first season in baseball. And if you remember, the Huntington Cubs originally was, when the club actually started operating, was operated by 5 businessmen. And one of them was an anesthesiologist from Los Angeles, California, which was where Matt was from. And Matt was, working on, he had a Screen Actors Guild card and was working on shows like Charles in Charge and Stagehand, and just happened to meet this anesthesiologist who in turn suggested him to come and take over the PA duties, and look what happened from there. I mean, those are backstories that just don't work in the way that a player gets drafted and works his way up. These are the most happenstance of occurrences, just like in my case, that you'd ever want to come across.
I don't remember him in Charles in Charge. And again, we got to go back a way here, but I don't remember him in that show.
I think he just had it's almost like you and I were standing at a parade. We could say we were in the show, and he mostly worked behind the scenes. But he does, unless he's let it expire. He at the time he did have his Screen Actors Guild card.
Okay, that's a.
But the back story is he was not a, to the best of my knowledge, not a radio announcer. That this gentleman that was one of the owners, and I don't. That's about how all I can take you from there, was just the fact that one of the 5 owners of the Cubs when they first started was from L.A. And next thing I knew, the next year, here was Matt Vasgersian. And he's not really changed a lot. I mean, his personality, I think the last time I saw Matt was at a winter meeting, golly, probably about maybe 2013, 2012, somewhere in that neighborhood. And that's the last time that I've chatted with him.
I had to look up. I had to go and look because now I went down a rabbit hole that I didn't know existed for Matt. I knew his broadcasting career, obviously, with Huntington as well, and he has had a tremendous broadcast career. But he was also in an episode of The Streets of San Francisco, and he was in the movie The Candidate, which was filmed mostly in Berkeley, California. So now there's some new facts I didn't know about Matt Vasgersian, and I'm going to have to go down that rabbit hole tonight, Jim.
That was your Fortunate Detour. I gave you that info.
Yeah. I did know a lot of his work, though, because the radio station that he was on at the time in Huntington, I was also there a couple of years later. So, I followed his career because we're both alum of that radio station. And when you talk about baseball and you talk about the Huntington Cubs, you have to bring his name up because he is one of the biggest names that come out of Huntington in that whole situation. And of course, you have had a lot of experiences with other people from other organizations. I'm sure you could probably look at, I don't want to say coaching tree, but your tree is probably very full with people that have gone on to do amazing things.
Well, yeah, both players and interns that I've had, and just to throw some quick names at you, I had Josh Hamilton and Carl Crawford here in the same year in '99 in the outfield, and had 8 big club. I've had I think I've had one major league manager, Edward Rodriguez Marlins, had him for 3 years, and Blake Snell, who's now won the Cy Young twice, was with us in 2012, and Kevin Kiermaier, Platinum Glover, who's now with Toronto, was with us in 2010. And it just, obviously you don't want to time me to rattle off 84 names, but those 84 names are listed in the book. There is like an honor roll chapter, as there are chapters in there about quirks of fans and things like that buried among the chronology of my career.
Give me one.
And my big thing.
Can you give me one quirk?
What's that?
I was going to say, can you give me one quirk, kind of a tease, what we can expect when we open the book and read it?
Oh, Lord. Golly, Neds, because I could take you so many different directions, and I think just the big thing is about the first 20, 25 pages, something like that, are about me growing up in Dunbar, which is where I'm from, and just the love of sport and all the little journalistic things. I mean, I'd have my cassette player and turn the sound down for Super Bowl IV or whatever, and then go back and you can listen to me do the play-by-play on it as a 5th grader or whatever I was. And then it just goes away. I'm buried in all this corporate drudgery. I was successful at it, but still drudgery in the 80s. And just meeting Bud Dickel in that one meeting, every domino you'll follow through that book interconnects to the end result, where I was very honored to be in the very second induction class of the Appalachian League Hall of Fame. And never wore a glove or hit a ball, but apparently I stirred up enough something that I was honored to be in the second class.
Now that's an impressive list that you have as honors, and I want to go back to your time in Dunbar, turning down the TV or the radio a little bit and following along, and you doing the call. Were you a Jack Fleming guy? Who was your guy when you were growing up when you listened to sports?
Oh Lord, well, you got to remember back then, probably, you had the deans running around like Kurt Gowdy and especially for baseball, because you only got one game a week, and that was Saturday at 2:00. And just people like that, and the CBS people, obviously that's changed a whole lot during the years. I could take you way back, like I think there was a guy named Jack Christensen, and that was way back. It's probably like mid-'60s, and it's hard to remember those. But, I'd write my own little sports books. And, of course, then you didn't have a lot of the other than Sports Illustrated. You didn't have the weekly publications. And biggest moment in my life every year was when my mother brought home from Kroger's the Street and Smith baseball edition.
I had the sticker book. I don't know if you remember those. I had the sticker book where you go to the corner store and you get a pack of stickers and you try to fill up every team with every sticker from the 70s on. Did you have those? Was that a thing in your day?
I believe I do remember those. I was more just a card guy. I didn't really. The only other they had, it was in 1969. They put actually team posters in the deck of cards. You'd get your one pack of cards. They would have a poster that was probably, I'm going to say, maybe something like about 14, 16 in size, and it would have the 9 key players, even something as random as the Seattle Pilots. And, your thing was to try to, collect all those. And for years, my poor old mother never saw her wallpaper because I had all, however many teams there was in, had them all on the walls. Anywhere there wasn't a window, there was one of those.
See, my big thing was the sticker book, and also there were 8x10s, I believe. They were glossy photos of all your favorite baseball players. So I'm, as a kid, trying to collect all the Cincinnati Reds. I'm trying to get the complete set of stickers. And, of course, baseball cards are always going to be a thing. I don't care how digital they've become now. Baseball cards are still baseball cards. And, of course, you've been through several generations of baseball fan, and hopefully a lot of people will take you up on your opportunity to buy your book, learn more about baseball in West Virginia. And, of course, what an amazing career you've had. My guest is Jim Holland. The book is My Fortunate Detour. Again, it's going to be available Thursday at the Cold-Cats game, Jack Cook Field. Special price for the book. You're giving fans at the game a little bit of a break.
Well, obviously, Paul, the book is available on the Amazon platforms, like, ordering as a paperback or a Kindle book. And we're in 4 bookstores in the Kanawha Valley and 2 in Mercer County. Other than you running into me on the street like Mr. Haney, I've always got books. But the book normally retails for $23.50, and of course that would be before taxes and stuff like that if you go to a store. But this 367-page book will be one $20 bill. Make it real easy for you. Just peel off a 20. I plan to be at the gate when the gates open, and it'll be there easily an hour into the game. I did one at Bluefield a couple nights back on the 14th, and you get your people come in late. So usually, I'll be there at least an hour after the game starts, but I'll be there when the gates open. And I look forward to it. Huntington was very memorable for me. You'll learn in the book those 2 years in Huntington, I actually had another job at the time, so I was kind of a secret agent running around everywhere. But everything I learned there, I met some wonderful people and was lucky to get in on the ground floor of something that special just because of that one chance meeting that changed not only my life, but a lot of other lives. And it's a good read, and I heartily endorse it, and I hope to see people come up. I'd love to meet them, whether you get a book or not, just to do some old Huntington fat and talk about St. Cloud Commons, or like you did, telling me some things. And, of course, you now know about Matt Excursion's cinematic background.
Now I know, and now I'm going to look it up tonight, see if I can find a couple of episodes of him in television. Have a good time when you get to Huntington on Thursday for the book signing. You're going to be signing books as well, so anyone who gets a book will get your autograph, and it's My Fortunate Detour, available June 20th against the best. Again, I'm going to get a lot of heat over this. The Sock Puppets on Thursday, but good talking to you, Jim. Good luck on everything, and hopefully we'll have you back soon.
Good. I look forward to it, Paul, and look forward to meeting you down the road. And you can cover yourself by saying that's the most creative name.
I'll go with that. Most creative name. I think it's hilarious. I love it. I mean, it's better than some of the names. I know you probably can't go into which ones are not that good, but Ridge Runners, come on. Bluefield Ridge Runners, come on. Really?
Well, they have a train. The history of that, Paul, is they have a train that existed like, the train at Camden Park.
Right.
Well, they had a train like that that went around the mountaintops, but in Bluefield, Virginia, it was called the Ridge Runner.
Ah.
And of course, Bluefield has a heavy railroad history also, and so that's the Ridge Runner. There was, and I still make my residence in Mercer County. When I moved down here, it's funny because I'm 66 now. My first 33 years of life was in Dunbar. My second 33 are in Mercer County. So split right down the middle for people from Dunbar that need to keep up with my last 33 years, get the book, read that half, and ditto for people here that didn't know me till I got here.
Okay. I like it then. Okay, so I'll take Ridge Runners off my not that good list. I stand educated now on that one, and I move State Liners up as not a very good name for Bristol.
Of course, I know you know the history on that one.
Yeah, not a fan of it though. I will give Ridge Runners a pass then. That makes a little bit more sense. But Sock Puppets is definitely still my favorite.
Well, I'll see that they know they went up the list.
Excellent. Jim, thanks for checking in. We'll do it again soon.
Thanks, Paul. Take care.
All right, that's Jim Holland. Okay, so Ridge Runners, it makes a little bit more sense. Still, unless you're from the area, it really doesn't attract that much of excitement. I mean, I was a fan of the Manitoba Moose and minor league hockey. I mean, that's a cool name, the Manitoba Moose. And I would probably want to get some Burlington sock puppet gear just because that's a cool name. I mean, you got to have a cool name in minor league sports and in college, prospect leagues and developmental leagues like this. You got to have cool merch. Your text coming up 304-396-TALK, 304-396-8255. This is The Drive, ESPN 94.1 and AM 930.
Get into the groove. Downtown Huntington's premier weekly music event is back. It's the Mount West 9th Street Live,
presented by New Trail, Garage Beer, Big Truck, The Beats, and Marca Prosecco, and by Matua Sauvignon Blanc.
This Friday, it's the Woodlands Retirement Community Night with a ticket to ride to 9th Street Live.
It's a celebration of the Beatles featuring the New Beats.
An entire evening of music from the Fab Four on the Marshall Health OBGYN stage. The Little Caesars Kids Zone is back, and Go-Mart Happy Hour starts at 5. Enjoy food and drinks from the Marshall Hall of Fame Cafe. Sit Downtown Brasserie and Summit Beer Station. Mark your calendar for Friday, August 2nd when 9th Street is Dead, featuring John Ingram's Dead Center and the music of the Grateful Dead. 9th Street Live is driven by Yes Chevy, Yes Ford every Friday night through Labor Day. It's all on 9th Street in Huntington between 3rd and 4th Avenue. Sponsored by Delta Hotels, Marshall Health OBGYN, Wendy's, Mountain Mindful, the City of Huntington, Marshall University, Impact Media, Xfinity High-Speed Internet, One Way Septic and Rent-A-Can, and this locally owned and operated Kindred Communications radio station.
Giovanni's Pizza. Fresh, hot, and tasty. Have it delivered right to your door. Giovanni's, the Italian place to be.
Is reviewing life insurance on your to-do list? Now's the perfect time to add it. A friend recently told me that securing life insurance sooner rather than later can help you lock in lower rates for years to come. So I bumped this up on my list and got it done. I called SelectQuote and couldn't believe how easy and affordable life insurance is. I'm 40 and got a $500,000 policy for $16 a month. My husband's also 40 and his $500,000 policy was only $18 a month. Plus, with SelectQuote's same-day coverage, there was no medical exam required, and we were covered by the time we hung up. Knowing I have this checked off my list feels amazing, but the peace of mind knowing my family is protected feels even better.
Call SelectQuote at 1-800-694-1010. That's 1-800-694-1010. Or go to SelectQuote.com to get your free quote today. 1-800-694-1010. Details on example rate at SelectQuote.com.
This is The Drive with Paul Swann on ESPN 94.1 FM and AM 930.
Welcome back to the Tuesday edition of The Drive on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930. We got baseball coming up tonight. The Colcats are in action, taking on the Johnson City Doughboys, and then following that up on Thursday after the two-game series. They'll start one with the Burlington Sock Puppets. They're in action against the Bluefield Ridge Runners tonight. We will keep an eye on all the action from the Appalachian League. Bluefield Ridge Runners, they can tell me where to go because they're the best team in the East right now with their 7-4 mark, followed by the Sock Puppets at 6-5, and then it's going to be the Danville Otterbots and The Coldcats at 5-5 apiece, and then Pulaski at the bottom at 5-6, and then in the West, the Greenville Flyboys are 6-4. Kingsport and Bristol round up the next two. Kingsport's 5-5, Bristol's 5-6. Johnson City is 5-6 as well, and then Elizabethton, the River Riders, are 4-7. And that's a look at what's happening in the App League. It's Paul's in the Park tonight at Jack Cook Field, where you bring your cat or dog for baseball fun every Tuesday night. And of course, if you can't make it out to the park tonight, we've got you covered. You can listen to the game. Jason Toy, Woody Woodrum, starting at 6:50 right here on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930. We will wrap it up when we continue. We went a little long. That's okay. We'll come back. We'll get your text in. It is a Hot Take Tuesday. What's your best hot take for the week? We'll talk about it when we continue on this edition of The Drive, ESPN 94.1 and AM 930.
Get everything for your garage upgrade and save big money now at Menards. Chamberlain garage door openers are durable and last for years to come. All Chamberlain openers feature built-in Wi-Fi, allowing you to open and close your garage door from anywhere. Save big money on Chamberlain garage door openers today. Plus, check out other deals happening this week in store or on Menards.com.
Save big money at Menards.
Our Kindred Communications family of stations reminds you of the need for blood donations to the Red Cross. Blood is always needed. It may save your life or the life of a loved one. This reminder is brought to you in part by
Smokin' Jay's Rib and Brew House, U.S. Route 60 at Camp Landing in Ashland. The Tri-State's best barbecue and ribeye. Boyd County Tourism and Convention Bureau. Visit, explore, enjoy Boyd County, where art meets adventure. Griffith & File Drug in Canova, caring for the area's health for over 130 years. For all your prescription needs, come to Griffith & File.
Coldcat Baseball. It's the hottest ticket in town. Nearly 10,000 fans have joined the Coldcats at Jack Cook Field for the team's first two series. You won't want to miss the next homestand with the Johnson City Doughboys and the Burlington Sock Puppets starting Tuesday. Wednesday is Dollar Dog Night. Thursday is $2 Labatt's Draft Beer Night. Sunday afternoon is Hoops Family Children Day presented by Marshall Health Network. Kids run the bases. Baseball is back. Tri-State Coldcats in town this week. Join the fun.
Some people just know there's a better way to do things, like bundling your home and auto insurance with Allstate, or going to the grocery store for milk instead of buying your own cow. You know there's an easier and better way. Save up to 25% when you bundle home and auto with Allstate.
Bundled savings vary by state and are not available in every state. Saving up to 25% is the countrywide average of the maximum available savings off the home policy. Allstate Vehicle and Property Insurance Company and affiliates, Northbrook, Illinois.
This is The Drive with Paul Swann on ESPN 94.1 FM and AM 930.
It's our final segment of today's edition of The Drive on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930. I'm your host, Paul Swann. Our text line, 304-396-TALK, 304-396-8255. We go back to the text line. Texter writes in, sock puppets, LOL. How about sax puppets or sax rubber stampers after the Board of Education? Getting a little political now in this program. I don't know if we're going down the political ramp. I don't think we're going there. But if you're familiar with the Cabell County Board of Education and the situation going on there, that's hilarious to you. If not, you might want to go research that a little bit. But okay, I get it. I'll allow it just this time. It is a Hot Take Tuesday. I guess that counts as a hot take. 304-396-TALK, 304-396-8255. Last night, the NBA crowning a champion. Now will the Stanley Cup crown a champion. Edmonton taking on Florida. That's coming up tonight at 8 o'clock. Baseball action last night. The Pirates defeated the Cincinnati Reds 4-1. Pittsburgh and Cincinnati back at it tonight. Cleveland taking on Seattle. Kentucky losing to number 3 Texas A&M 5-1 last night. It's an elimination game tonight tomorrow, as number 2 Kentucky plays Florida And that's going to be an elimination game for one of those two teams. That is tonight. I apologize. It is Kentucky and Florida. Rain delay. Okay. Going to be tomorrow. All right. Rain delay tomorrow. We could use some of that rain right now in Huntington. So Kentucky will take on Florida. Elimination game tomorrow. Tonight canceled due to rain. 304-396-TALK, 304-396-8255. Here's an interesting change. Did you know that Ohio State made a couple of changes to its 2025 football schedule? The Buckeyes are no longer going to face UConn on October 18th, and they've replaced that contest by adding a game against, get this, Grambling State University on September 6th. Ohio State also has non-conference games with Texas and Ohio University in the 2025 season. So that's an interesting schedule change, to say the least. I think UConn would be the better game. Grambling State, what does Grambling State give you over UConn? I would much rather play UConn than I would Grambling State, wouldn't you? All right. As we wrap up today's edition of the show, Texter writes in and says, Paul, is Ohio State too scared to play UConn? I don't think Ohio State is scared to play anybody. Texter writes in and says, Texter is a Reds fan and says, let's go Reds. Gotta beat the Berg. It didn't happen last night. 4-1 Pirates getting the win over the Reds. Hopefully for the majority of Reds fans that I know, they can make a good showing of it. Of course, that is against corporate policy here, as we are your home of the Pittsburgh Pirates. I've been trying to explain that to our intern here, that the boss is a Pirates fan. Keep the boss happy. We're all Pirates fans, and of course, you can listen to him right here on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930. It's a running joke here. Bill Cornwell is a big Reds fan, so he'll wear his Reds gear, sometimes especially just to show off in front of the boss. So it's a running joke around here that, Bill, also the guy that I would see sometimes wearing UK and UCLA gear at the same time. He does not care. He will wear whatever gear he likes. Texter says, Paul, it gets him a guaranteed win, unlike playing UConn. That's true. That's fair. Grambling State is going to be a guaranteed win. UConn might not be a guaranteed win. Hey, the Herd might go up to Ohio Stadium and get the win. Marshall might go up there and shock the world. How's that for early hot take? That's going to do it for this edition. Thanks for tuning in. I'll be back with you tomorrow here on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930. For our producer, Ben Anderson, I'm Paul Swann. Don't forget, Coldcats baseball coming up tonight, 6:50 airtime. Jason Toy, Woody Woodrum will have the call as the Coldcats taking on, get this, they are taking on one of the very best teams in the West, because they're all about the same record. Johnson City, the Doughboys, are the opponent tonight for the Coldcats. Thanks for tuning in. I'll be back with you tomorrow here, ESPN 94.1 and AM 930.
Transmitting on Glorious FM on 94.1 W227BS Huntington. This is 930 WRVC Huntington, celebrating 100 years of broadcasting.